He is known as Richard Greene, the Civics Dean. I mentioned before he's a political consultant, former congressional candidate, and he and I love to go at it as we disagree about a lot of things, but we also agree about on many things. And his message on third-party candidacy is a really powerful one. And when you need to know how government works and how elections work, you want to talk to this guy. How about it for Richard Greene, the Civics Dean? What's up, sir?
So, Mark, I just want to correct you. If we talk long enough, you will agree with me on everything. We're almost there. We're almost there.
What?
That is, well, a hope of mine that we will. Can I start with what happened a little bit last night in Michigan with the results, and then I want to get to your message about third-party candidates or your take on third-party candidacy. Did you take something away from sort of the returns in Michigan that we can use looking forward to the general?
Yeah, I've been afraid of this for a long time. I mean, Michigan, whoever wins Michigan generally wins the election recently, right? It's that close. 15 electoral votes is a big deal. There is a significant anti-Biden, genocide Joe situation going on in Michigan because there are so many Arabs and Palestinians there. And that could swing the election. And so the people who did not, the Democrats who purposely did not vote for Joe Biden, who made a protest vote, that if they stay in that mode, then could be that they will be electing Donald Trump.
What's so odd to me about that is that Trump, of course, will be much tougher in terms of his disposition toward those things that they say they care about. So if you care about Palestinian future, you care about two-state solution, you care about these things, none of those things will you see any light on in a Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, but we've talked about this, and so many people have talked about it. It's an emotional decision. It's not a logical decision. I mean, the people who support the Palestinians in Michigan need to remember that it was Donald Trump who moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem in huge defiance to the desires of the Arab and Palestinian population. But again, I mean, this could be changed very quickly. And I have long been advocating that Joe Biden disconnect from Benjamin Netanyahu and basically say, F you to Netanyahu. You're not my guy. I don't support you. I don't support your policies, but I support and I love Israel. And I want to get the hostages released. You know, I want to create a two-state solution. I want to work with the UAE and Egypt and Saudi Arabia to create a really sustainable, prosperous two-state solution where both sides are safe and secure. That's what he needs to do. And if you have access to him, tell him I said so.
Okay, all right.
That would help him with Michigan, big time.
I mentioned that in New York, they have Democrats have proposed a new congressional map. You know, this is in response to the gerrymandered maps of the past, and they're trying to come up with a more neutral map. And the Democrats, to their credit, apparently have come up with a map with only a very slight tilt in their favor, so they can avoid being dragged back into court. But might that mean trouble in terms of hanging on to New York, or is it a squarely blue state? Tell me about that.
There is all Democrats need to do is flip 4 seats out of 435 congressional seats. They need to flip 4. They lost a bunch of close ones in California and New York, in part because of, you know, the way the maps were, especially in New York. But I think New York made a strategic decision. We're just going to work really hard. We're going to leverage of women's reproductive rights. We're going to leverage, you know, the recent situation in Alabama with IGF or IVF. And I think, you know, we got to do what we got to do. I mean, the truth is the Democratic Party represents what 90% on issues like gun violence, on reproductive rights, on the environment, what 90% of the people care about. And the key in this election, as we've talked about every time, is getting young people to get out and vote. the challenge, coming back to your earlier thing, is if young people kind of side with what's going on with the Democrats in Michigan and they say, I'm going to send a message to Genocide Joe and I'm going to stay home, whether they're in Michigan or New York, that's going to hurt congressional candidates as well. So everything is interconnected. This is the most bizarre and fascinating and scariest presidential election in my lifetime. And I've been in politics. You know how old I am. I've been in politics a long time, and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's not just the presidency, of course, as you suggested. It's a representation. You're so close to representation in the House, and you can see, well, as we're on the verge of a government shutdown again, you can see how important it is to have control of these legislative bodies. I want to ask you about the third party.
Before we do,
yeah.
I just want to remind people that there is a magic number in American civics and politics. It's 270. If the Republicans have 270 elected government national officials, they can and they will pass a national abortion ban. That national abortion ban will affect people in California, no matter what laws we've passed, people in Kansas, people in Ohio, people in New York, people in Illinois. A national abortion ban will override, because of the supremacy clause in the United States Constitution, it will override state laws that allow liberal abortion, usage or utilization. We are two Republicans away. The Republicans right now have a majority in the House to pass, for example, a national abortion ban, and they are one senator away, because of this next election, of being able to pass that in the Senate, and one president away. So the magic number for a national abortion ban is 270. They've got 268. And if that's not going to motivate people to get out and vote for Democratic congressmen and Democratic senators and a Democratic president, any of whom can stop it, right? It's all about getting a trifecta, right? You need a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate, and the White House. then you know what? We deserve what we get. We deserve what we get. If people don't vote, we deserve what we get. And if people vote, to segue to your question, if people vote for third parties, Jill Stein, Cornel West, or Bobby Kennedy, no matter how much you frickin' like them, you are voting for Republicans to take control of your lives, your reproductive rights, the environment, gun safety issues, the democracy, on and on and on. The third parties in our system are a terrible idea, because they thwart the will of the people. And as I shared with you, 5, count them, 5. That is already a majority of the current Supreme Court justices are there because of third parties interfering with the national popular vote and the will of the people in the year 2000 and the year 2016. 5. And if people want to do that, say, oh, I don't like Joe Biden, he's too old, I'm going to vote for Bobby Kennedy. And if you're in a swing state, that could elect Donald Trump. Or the same thing, and especially with Jill Stein, who already destroyed us in the 2016 election, and Cornel West, who is a very compelling African-American thought leader and a charismatic guy. But what the hell is he doing? What the hell is he doing? He understands politics. This is insanity. Third parties are poison to our democracy right now. We can change the system, but it's not the system we have now.
Well, it is that you described, that's the problem. It's a system that is broken, and people feel as though this is how we got here. But then I want to double back to the 270, because I'm seeing it in the chat. What's 270? We'll get that in a second. But we have this broken system, and it's two parties. You're right. I mean, it's going to be one or the other always right now. And it is the system that is, as I say, it's diseased because it doesn't really represent so many of the opinions and needs of the people. But it's the system we have. But it's in response to that last thing I said, I think, I would say respectfully, Richard, that the Cornel Wests of the world, the RFK Juniors of the world, that's where they step up. They go, our voice isn't being heard on all these issues, and we're going to get our voice heard by entering the presidential sweepstakes. So you do get a bigger, platform, right? You get a bigger megaphone. But as you say, from the standpoint of what you're actually doing, you're throwing votes to the opposition.
I mean, I'm all for people having their voice. We have Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and YouTube for that. But bottom line, George W. Bush was elected by 537 votes in the state of Florida because Ralph Nader wanted to have a voice. Ralph Nader got almost 100,000 votes. It is absolutely indisputable that Ralph Nader voters overwhelmingly would have gone to Al Gore. So we didn't get Al Gore. We didn't get a really great environmental president because of a third party in 2000. But we also got John Roberts, who's not a horrible Chief Justice, but he's certainly not progressive. And we got one of the worst Supreme Court justices ever, who is a Christian nationalist, Samuel Alito. We've had him since George Bush days. We may have him for another 20 years because of third parties. And then we got 3 anti-women's rights, gun violence prevention, anti-environment, all of that justices, because Hillary Clinton, who won by 2.9 million votes, lost by 78,000 votes because of third parties, Jill Stein specifically, in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So I just don't think their voice being heard is worth it. And here's one other thing. If Bobby Kennedy wins 1 electoral vote, it's not going to be 1. Let's say he wins Nevada with 6 electoral votes. That could prevent Joe Biden from reaching 270 electoral votes. If no one gets 200, even though he would be ahead of Donald Trump, if no one gets 270 electoral votes, this is the same magic number of America on how you pass bills, coincidentally or not, then the entire election goes into the House of Representatives. And people go, well, that's great. Maybe the House will be Democratic. Doesn't matter. It's decided by 1 state, 1 vote. And right now there are 28 states that have a majority Republican delegation, only 21 that have a Democratic. And if the Republicans have a majority in the House of Representatives, no matter what, they are going to choose Donald Trump, no matter how many votes he lost to Joe Biden by. So 1 electoral vote for any third party candidate is likely a total re-election of Donald Trump. The consequences here are scary. And I do not believe, sorry for going on for so long, I don't believe the system is broken, Mark. I do not believe the system is broken.
Well, you just articulated one of the most broken aspects of it. I'm so surprised that you say it. So you're saying if Trump trails Biden significantly, but Biden doesn't get to the 270 threshold, they go to the Congress in this ridiculous system, which is just another example of how diseased our system is. And instead of it being any kind of real reflection and representation of the populace, it's just 1 state, 1 vote, and there are more red states than blue states, and boom, Trump is in. If that doesn't tell you how our system is broken, and that's just one facet of how it's broken, then I don't know what will.
Why are you yelling?
Okay, well, I will agree with you. I will agree with you that the structure of the Electoral College, which was a racist thing added by the small racist slave states way back when, I agree that that's really screwed up. But the system can be fixed easily, instantly on November 5th or any election if Americans all vote. If Americans vote, the Electoral College will not stand in the way of our getting what the vast majority of our country wants. That's where I say it's not broken. It's broken because young people don't vote. It's broken because people of color don't vote. It's broken because old white people vote more than other people who have more progressive values.
Well, that's another way it's broken, the body politic maybe. But I would suggest to you the institution that you defend is diseased. But we can do that another. I'm getting questions about why is it 270? Why 270? Can you explain 270 more? I don't understand why it's 270. Where does the 270 come from? I'm getting that. What? Go through that again. The 270. Obviously, 270 is the magic number of the presidential election, right?
It's the magic number of America. Okay. Listen, democracy is a mathematical concept. It's all about numbers, right?
Okay, so explain the 270,
Here we go.
Please.
So the Electoral College, it's 270 electoral votes. We have 535 electors. You get 270. That is a majority. You get 269. You don't have a majority. You need 50% plus one. So 270 Electoral College votes. Also now, you need 270 elected government, national government officials to pass any piece of legislation. You need 218 to pass a bill, the Mark Thompson vegan nutrition bill or whatever.
Thank you. I love that bill. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you need 51 votes in the United States Senate to pass a bill. They say, well, what about the filibuster? You need 60, but you can override the filibuster with a carve out by 51 votes. You can end the filibuster completely by 51 votes. So you just need to find 51 senators who are willing to actually bypass the filibuster. So you got 218 plus 51, and then that comes to 269. What's the 270th?
VP, I suppose, right?
No, you need a president who will sign the bill. A president who will sign the bill. Because if a president vetoes the bill, you then need 2/3 in both houses, which means you need an additional 79 votes, right? So you need 270 to pass the Women's Health Protection Act to restore Roe v. Wade and reproductive rights across America. We currently have 264. We need 6 more. We need 6 more.
That's great.
So we
you.
need 4 more in the House. We need 1 more in the Senate. We need to reelect a president who will sign the bill. So it's so simple.
Yeah.
We can fix this. It's not broken. It's simple second grade math.
All right, I've got to wrap up. I love having you in. Will you come visit regularly through the election season and beyond, please?
I will. And by the way, as a birthday present to me, I set up a bit.ly link. The best way to celebrate my birthday and anybody's birthday in America is to get people who are not engaged, who are not going to vote, to register and vote. And so it's www.bit.ly/Richard's birthday. I had a big birthday on Sunday, as you know, bit.ly/Richard's birthday.
Will you, Albert? I know you're writing that down, Albert, and I know you're going to put that in the description for this video. We'll drop this video separately as well as being on the show, and we'll put it in there. You got it, Albert?
And that takes you to vote.org for voter registration. However you want to register, but please register and vote and get involved and fix the fixable part of this system. Love you, Mark Thompson.
Love you back, my friend, and happy birthday. Richard Greene, the Civics Dean. Come on, everyone. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.